What's up, everyone? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, December 27th, 2018. I hope you're doing well. A very simple question for you today. In this very moment, in this very hour, what's a better investment, do you think? What would you rather buy, Bitcoin, or would you rather invest in the traditional markets, the stock market? What do you think? We're going to hop into technical analysis. We're going to look at the daily on Bitcoin. We're going to look at the 4-hour. Bitcoin making some moves right now. We're going to look at that. But before we do, consumer confidence index, recessions highlighted in gray. You can see the chart on the screen. Basically, it looks like we're having a little bit of a peak on the consumer confidence index. And you can look back and you can find these peaks going back to the 70s. And each peak you see leading into these gray areas, these gray boxes that are going down the screen. Those are recessions. So in terms of consumer confidence, sentiment, this chart plays into the fact that we've just had a very nice 10 years for the stock market, right? But consumer confidence coming to a peak as it has before, and potentially could be the doorway to a new gray line, which you'll see on your screen possibly in 5 years from now, looking back, of a potential recession. Right now, the doorway to a potential recession, correction, pullback. And I tweeted earlier, I said, Amazon is down over 30% since all-time highs just a few months ago in August. What a Ponzi scam. And obviously I'm being sarcastic, but it's mainly because you have so many people that are invested in the stock markets and basically calling Bitcoin, calling cryptocurrency a scam. I find it ridiculous because now Amazon, volatile, down 30%. You can see Amazon on a chart. Here it is. Recent all-time highs. There it is in, end of August. And you can see it. Nasdaq, very similar chart, very ugly looking chart. This is on the weekly, by the way. We can actually go even to the daily chart on Nasdaq, and you can even see the very ugly looking 50 EMA cross below the 200 EMA. What's in store for these traditional markets? Time will tell, but if you look at this consumer confidence index, not looking good based on historical evidence. I also tweeted, I said, based on technical analysis and historical movement of Bitcoin, I can confidently say I think Bitcoin will reach at least $15,000 by end of 2019. I know many people want or anticipate something different. I know. This would be the doorway to a bull run. These are just my thoughts. These are just my thoughts, right? Nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. These are my thoughts based on the analysis we do on this channel, the historical data points that we have for Bitcoin, the movement of Bitcoin. That's what I think. And I think it would be a very healthy doorway into a bull market, an exceptional 2020, 2021 for Bitcoin. So let's jump into the charts. And to answer the question, if you look at your screen, Bitcoin extremely oversold, not at a peak, not at the peak that we were at last year, the end of last year, right? We're not there. We're in that oversold territory with a bright future in this awesome technology of cryptocurrency. Bitcoin in a very oversold territory. So if you ask the question, what's a better buy? I'm just going to say Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin. Here's Nasdaq. Here's Nasdaq in the long-term daily chart zoomed out. And here is Bitcoin. So those are my thoughts in terms of that. Obviously, a lot plays into that, but obviously I'm very heavily invested in the cryptocurrency space, so I'm sure you could have guessed my answer. Let's talk about Bitcoin and what it's doing right now. So leading into $3,000 to $5,000 area that Bitcoin has fallen into, we've done a lot of tracking. Here's the 200 EMA pink line in the bear market a few years ago for Bitcoin. And there's that overextended bottom going down to 58% overextended. We really use that to anticipate this break below the $6,000 area for Bitcoin. We said the potential is there for a very similar overextension from the 200 EMA like we got in that last bear market. And back then, we're talking that would have taken us down to, a 50 to 60% overextension, 60% being around $2,800, 50% being around $3,400. that 50% to 60% down here, bottom range, was a nice target. And we hit it. We hit it, and now we're tracking it. Now we're tracking Bitcoin, what's going on. And if you've been watching these technical analysis videos, we've used Fibonacci a lot on this channel. So most recently, we had that previous swing high to our swing low that we had back in mid-December. And we have this retracement back up from that swing high to the swing low, back up to our Fibonacci channel. And we were tracking this in real time as we hit this resistance here. As Bitcoin often does, hitting resistance or support at this 786 to 618 channel, Fibonacci retracement channel, we hit resistance. We bounced off of it. One thing we talked about when we bounced off of that, or at least saw resistance there, was potentially that playing into the storyline for this inverse head and shoulders that could be forming. So a bounce off this 618 to 786 channel is essentially at the same time a bounce off the neckline of this inverse head and shoulders, and really resistance at this 50 EMA, which we were very much anticipating because that has been the story of this bear market, resistance off of that 50 EMA on the daily chart. So there's a potential inverse head and shoulders in play. And what does that look like on, in terms of where we are? And we can pivot over to the 4 hour to get a sense of that. So I've had this symmetrical triangle tracking in the short term, right, on the 4 hour chart, because basically since December 24th, Bitcoin has kind of been steadying out, right? We have this little mini symmetrical triangle, and I've been charting it and tracking it. Haven't really talked about it at all on this channel. And you can see it actually just broke within the last hour or two to the downside. So in terms of what we're looking at for Bitcoin, one thing we have talked about is the Fibonacci yet again, and we can bring it up on this 4 hour chart. So Fibonacci on this 4 hour chart can play into the story of this inverse head and shoulders. So there's that swing low back in mid-December to swing high that we most recently had, right? Back here around $4,200. And here's our Fibonacci channel of potential support. So we see resistance at Fibonacci, 618 to 786, and we often see support. So here is that support channel that could potentially be in play right now, especially as we just broke that symmetrical triangle. So I'm going to chart that with a nice little rectangle, get rid of the Fibonacci so you can see better. And here we are. So this could potentially play into what's happening right now, and time will tell, right? This video in 4 hours can prove to have failed if this support channel does not hold. But for argument's sake, we will chart it. And we have the height of this symmetrical triangle, and we can measure that height, and basically we can call into play our breakout area in terms of downside or upside. Obviously downside right now since we broke the bottom of the triangle. And here we are. We're right in that channel, that pullback channel. Now, that channel in particular is very important for Bitcoin, namely in this pattern that we're tracking, that we've been tracking, this inverse head and shoulders, right? So this could potentially be the formation of the right shoulder support here at the 618 to 786. We see support there. We get a bounce. This is a bullish scenario for Bitcoin, right? And then we have to talk about retesting this neckline. That's for another video if we even get there. One thing is for sure, we have to continue covering these technical analysis videos with a bearish sentiment, a bearish mentality, because we're in a bear market, right? We just got another defeat at the 50 EMA for Bitcoin. So the potential for new lows is high, right? The potential to break this Fibonacci channel of support is high. And I just, I want to throw that out there for you just to let you know, we could have in store for us new lower lows, right? And I also want to throw out there anything below this previous low, if this support breaks right here, any new lows are extremely awesome buying opportunities, accumulation opportunities for me personally. That's not financial advice, but I want to let you know if in a week, 2 weeks, tomorrow we're charting and Bitcoin just drops, right, into this territory right here, that isn't, and let me move it over because I guarantee you I'm in the way, so I move it over. This is a great accumulation area. This is what we do in anticipating the dip. So right now I'm watching. I want to see if support can hold in this area, but I'm watching, and I have fiat available in terms of a situation where we kind of capitulate down to this area. And we talked about that $2,800 area could potentially be really the bottom of our bottom channel. So we will track this on the 4-hour, right? Little bit of a mini pullback right now in the markets. Bitcoin down 5%. It's saying on the Bitstamp, and we're going to track it. That's the 4-hour chart. And if you really want to kind of look for support in any area, I would definitely say this $3,500 down to $3,300 Fibonacci channel on this chart is an extremely good chart to watch. So those are just my thoughts in terms of technical analysis. At the end of the day, I have to say, if you're long on Bitcoin, it's a way better buy, in my opinion. This is not financial advice, than the traditional markets and the volatility that it has on its own over there, right? It has its own type of volatility that I no longer trust. I no longer trust those markets. These markets, at least we know what to anticipate. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you're making out there. I appreciate all of you watching. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I'd love to have you as part of the channel. As always, I will see you in the next video, and God bless.